Alright guys, you're back with the Lone Wolf. In this video I'm going to react to an article that I found on hackspirit.com. It's written by a woman and it looks at the reasons why guys don't date anymore. 7 ways the dating world has changed for good. And it's from a couple of months ago. Okay, let's go. What happened to the days of chivalry? Where did it go? 1 minute guys were opening doors for us, pulling out our chairs and connecting over a shared meal. Today we're lucky to get a text telling us to come over and join him on the couch for a movie. Sure, we fought long and hard for effenism and expected changes have come with that. We pay our way through meals and are even happy to get our own doors. But when do we give up dating? Surely I'm not the only one pondering these thoughts. If you're wondering what's changed in recent years, we take you through 7 ways the dating world has changed and what you can do to turn the tables. Yeah, I'm guessing these methods aren't going to work. Number 1, face-to-face isn't necessary anymore. Technology is great, technology has achieved great things for us, but I'm on the fence about whether or not it has helped when it comes to the dating world. Go back a decade and dating websites such as RSVP or eHarmony were a taboo subject. No one wanted to admit they were online dating. It was a sign of failure, a sign that you hadn't been able to meet someone in the real world. Fast forward to today and there are now apps out there for almost every type of dating. From single parents to casual relations, there's an app for it. If a relationship doesn't work out, you jump back on and find something else. The difference, now it's unheard of not to be on a dating app. The world has certainly changed. Why waste time dating, getting to know a person, when you can chat to multiple people at once online? It's easy to see why the dating world has so drastically changed. You have to jump through hoops and multiple other partners to even make it to an in-person date. Yeah, well I certainly would urge people not to use apps anyway, and I've spoken about that countless times. But for different reasons than what she's saying. By then you generally feel so comfortable with each other you can skip that initial dating stage and jump ahead to tracksuit pants and a movie on the couch. Number 2, booty calls have taken over. We've all heard of Tinder. Of course we have. It's the app that mainstreamed the booty call. Let's take a look at this realistically. Why would a guy want to date when he can simply message any number of women and organise a booty call to his house? Skip the awkward conversation, forget the expensive food and wine bill. Get all the perks that come from dating without actually dating. Exactly. Why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? It's hard not to see the appeal there. As a woman, we like to be romanced, we like to be won over. We love the idea of love, but none of that is necessary anymore. We either are up for bedroom fun or keep searching for a guy who might actually stop to get to know you first. Welcome to the hookup culture. Guys are only on the hunt for something casual, and us women, we end up embracing it because it has become... Yeah, well, that implies that women aren't on the look for something casual, which quite often they are. This is hilarious. Number 3, men no longer buy the drinks. Heading out to a nightclub or bar was always a great way to meet guys and flirt a little. Somewhere along the way, men stopped buying the drinks. We get it, the fight for effenism, they yell. This is what you wanted, they tell us. But no, sadly it has gone much too far. It's simply called being polite. You go up and chat with a woman, sipping away on your drink without even offering to buy her one. When did this become acceptable? It's not about the free drinks, it's not about the money. It's a simple gesture to show a woman you like her without resorting to grinding on the dance floor in front of your mates. This reeks of wanting the traditional male approach without being a traditional woman. And it's hypocrisy just running rampant, you know. I really can't see the logic in this. So you fight for equality, and then when men start actually treating you as equals, you're complaining that they're not being traditional. It's ironic and it's hilarious at the same time. I've made the mistake years ago of buying drinks in a club for women that I've just met, and it gets you nowhere. I was probably about 20, 21 at the time. Me and a friend, we got the round of drinks in with some girls, and I'm not saying that, you know, you're entitled to something at the end of it just for buying the drink. I'm not saying that at all. But they basically just got up and left after they'd enjoyed our drinks. So you get very, very little for doing it. You should, if you're going to buy drinks for people, buy them for your mates who you're actually familiar with and who you get something from in terms of the friendship and the mutual camaraderie. Yeah, absolutely. Only buy drinks for people that you've developed a relationship with. Don't buy them for strangers. It's stupid. Number 4, we're all too busy for dating. Something has happened over the years. Sure, we want to meet someone. Yes, we eventually want to settle down. But who has time to go out there and find the right person? Not guys, that's for sure, and many women fall into this boat as well. The difference is women have this thing called a biological clock. If we want that family, then we're on a time frame. Once upon a time, women were falling pregnant in their early 20s. These days, the average age of mothers has increased to between 30 and 34. When we are finally ready to settle down and have a family, we don't have the luxury to just keep putting it off again and again. So we take the shortcuts that we're given. We skip the dating and head over for bedroom fun to get to know him intimately. We tell ourselves we don't need to waste time on the romance, we just need to know whether or not we're compatible. We convince ourselves that it's okay not to date, it's okay to skip over all of that to get to the end goal, and when time isn't on our side, it's so easy to see why we accept this as the norm and go with it. What alternative do we have? Watch our opportunity to have kids float away while we try and coax a guy to get us out on a date? I don't think so. Well, how about you don't squander your 20s? You know, why are you blaming men for having to rush in your early 30s and mid 30s? Why not optimize the time and don't make the mistakes of wasting dating opportunities when you're in your 20s? Why not meet a good guy in your early 20s and lock him down? Like a quality guy. There's plenty of them out there. You just won't date them. You'll go for the alphas, so to speak, the bad boys. That much is apparent. Number 5, guys have become lazy. Once again, it seems that our expectations have fallen short and the men have taken advantage of this one. Suddenly, shaving, popping on a nice suit, buying some chocolates, and picking up a woman from her house has become too much. In fact, shaving and getting dressed up on its own is far too much for many men these days. Men just aren't willing to put in the effort into a date. Sure, they want female attention, but they also know they can get it from so many different places. I think this is just projection, given that women can get attention, almost unlimited attention for free through apps. I find that quite a ridiculous assertion. What attention do men get if they're not top tier? They get no attention. They're ignored by society pretty much. They're just invisible. They're under the radar. So this is definitely stinking of projection. If you've just started chatting with a guy on a dating app, the chances are very low that you're the only girl he is talking. Complete projection. How many matches does the average guy get on a dating app? A dozen. Like, and that's being ambitious. A dozen. Women. There's women that I've known who've had 4 figures. 4 figures of matches. So yeah, this is complete and utter projection. There are so many apps out there for them to join and find different females on. It hardly makes sense to men to put the effort in for a woman. After all, there's plenty more fish in the sea. This is why the hookup culture has become a thing. But that doesn't mean you have to sit back and accept it. There are still guys out there willing to make an effort and romance a love interest. You might just have to keep searching for a little longer than you'd hoped. I would query that assertion. There's less and less men that are willing to do that because they're wising up to the dating landscape and they're becoming more and more familiar with these concepts. Number 6, no one even knows if they are dating. The lines are no longer black and white in the dating world. There's this whole big grey area that is brought on thanks to all the different apps out there. Men are jumping from woman to woman and no one is stopping to define these relationships anymore. It's the norm. Is it a fling? Is he dating multiple women? Is he in a relationship at all? The truth is he probably doesn't even know. Everyone is in the dark about whether or not they're actually dating, and this is happening for one simple reason. Almost no one is dating anymore. How do you define a relationship when you're skipping that essential beginning step? Instead, we are all diving into casual relationships with multiple people, and the lines get blurred along the way. No one stops to question them either. We just keep muddling on, not knowing whether or not we're in a relationship or whether or not it's headed somewhere. It's one vicious cycle that makes finding the love of your life even harder. And last, number 7, being single is more acceptable than ever. Once upon a time, it was the norm to fall in love, get married and have children. Once you had your first child, people would immediately start asking when number 2 was coming along. It was a given that you would go for at least a second child, if not more. These days we're all about choice. You get to choose whether or not you want a relationship, choose whether or not you want to have kids, choose what you want. As a result, being single is becoming the norm. No one is in a rush to find the love of their life and settle down. Instead, they are spending more time figuring out themselves and what they might want out of life. While this is great in many respects, it means we are also missing out on opportunities. We are quite simply letting love pass us by while we sit back and work out whether we even want it at all. Some of us are not so ready not to conform to what society wants, that we are simply missing what's right in front of us. While being single is great and has its perks, so does being in a relationship and finding your soulmate, and it's important that we don't forget this. Yeah, I think with regards to men and a lot of those guys going their own way or sort of lone wolf style, they really don't care. They're happy enough being single, and the perils of relationships and dating just, it's a cost-benefit analysis. They really just aren't interested and won't bother. They're too busy pursuing things, pursuing their careers or passions and pursuits, and more power to them. How to stop the hookup culture? It's clear to see things have changed. As much as we can sit back and romanticize about the past, it isn't going to change our current situation. It seems that tracksuit pants and popcorn on the couch are the new dating norm, but that doesn't mean you have to like it or even go along with it for that matter. Technology has a lot to answer for when it comes to our ever-changing world. Guys and girls have the freedom to flick between partners at the press of a button, which has made the chase almost non-existent. And I would argue the commitment and why guys aren't chasing in the first place or traditionally dating women, because if people can just drop you at the tip of a hat, what's the point of making that investment? You might as well do something else with your time. And then she goes into 6 tips to get your man out on a date. Ask your crush on a date. Number 1, effinism isn't all bad, despite the rap it's been given in this post so far. We simply need to use it. If there's one clear way for us to set our intentions and what we expect out of a relationship, it's by approaching your crush and asking them out. This just doesn't happen. It's happened to me once in my entire life. And I don't think I know anybody else who this has actually happened to. So it's exceedingly rare. No midnight booty calls, no grey line about where your relationship stands. You simply ask him out on a date, wait for him to respond. If he likes you, he's going to make an effort. Now that you've set the standard, there's no reverting to hookups and lazy dating. It's the real deal or it's nothing. If he's not interested, at least you don't have to waste any time with the chase or giving into this hookup culture. You can cut your losses then and there and move on to the next guy. After all, if there's one thing we know for sure, there's plenty more fish in the sea. Number 2, use your manners. Let's face it, we can't sit around hoping a guy's going to one day open the car door for us when we ourselves don't even know what manners are. Dating is a two-way street and you have to bring just as much to the table as he does. Well, I can agree with that statement. Fact. Let him know how appreciative you are when he performs these small gestures for you. When he knows you aren't simply sitting there and expecting them and actually appreciate it, he's more likely to make the effort for you. Not to mention it's the polite thing to do. Yeah, anything you can do to eradicate this sense of entitlement, that would be fantastic. Number 3, bend the rules. It's hard not to acknowledge that times have changed a lot, so it stands to reason that dating should also change with it. But not to the extent that we get rid of it altogether. Instead, we simply need to bend the rule a little to make it work for both parties. Organise an Uber there and home. This takes the pressure off the guy of having to come and pick you up and drop you home. Offer to pay, it's true. The guy shouldn't always have to be the one to pay for the date. Offer to chip in or pay your way. And then organise the date. Number 4, pick up the phone. We all love to hide behind a text message. It's so easy and convenient. 97%, according to the Pew Research Center's Internet and American Life Project, 97% of mobile users send around 800. According to Pew Research Center's Internet and American Life Project, 97% of mobile users send about 110 texts per day, which is about 3,200 messages per month. That's a lot of texts. It's convenient. You can choose to text whenever you like during the day, but it isn't the best way to get to know someone. No, I agree. I think if I can, I prefer talking to people on WhatsApp or any of these other platforms. I don't particularly like messaging. I think it stunts the social interaction. She carries on, in fact, it's the perfect way to encourage a sense of laziness in the relationship. You want to pick up the phone and call him. It's the next best thing to meeting in person on a date. It means he can't hide behind the text messages and you're letting him know that you see this as more than just a casual fling. Once again, if he isn't interested, he'll simply make a break for it. If he is, he'll put in the effort once the bar has been set. Number 5, think beyond the first dates. Dating is an exciting time, getting to know the person and whether or not you're a good fit. Once you do, a couple of initial dinner and dining dates, think about some activities you can both do together. Here are some suggestions. It's not about bedroom fun and getting to a level of comfort that leads to the bedroom. It's about getting to know each other and working out whether or not you have a future together. Number 6, don't forget the romance. Romance is something that should never die when it comes to relationships. Once again, it goes both ways. You might need to step up your game and give him a few lessons in romance and hope he catches on fast. Don't simply sit back in the hope that he might one day get romantic. Here are some ways you can add a bit of romance. Surprise dates, pick up gifts, organising weekends. It's too easy to sit back and tell ourselves that guys don't date anymore, and it's true they don't. This is why it's our job to get them back out there and being chivalrous. It takes change, it takes commitment, and it takes time, but don't give up. Dating is an important part of life, and we hope it never dies. Well, it is dying, and there's very little you can do to stop it with these measures, unless there's a sea change in the dating dynamic, gender dynamics between men and women. Too many men are waking up and realising a lot of these RP principles, and it's going to take a lot more than this to bring the other side back, because in its the lowest common link with the chivalry, being chivalrous, it's traditional male gender roles, and it's just not going to happen. Why should men be chivalrous and be traditional when modern women aren't traditional? You want to have your cake and eat it too, and that is just not going to happen. I hope you enjoyed that critique, guys. If you enjoyed the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.